You want to sit with us? You're just a little nervous?
I need to know first.
I'll put you on that side so you don't look at yourself.
Oh, thanks. Did you see my last video?
No.
I looked at myself the entire time.
Most people do. They sit here and they just stare at themselves.
I didn't know you weren't supposed to do that.
It's funny.
So in January we had this whole thing of where some missionaries came and taught us a lot of stuff, and one of those things was that missionaries left the field because of other missionaries. Like that's the #1 reason why missionaries leave the field.
So today we're going to talk about one of the #1 reasons missionaries leave the field, and it's probably one of the things most people wouldn't even expect. I know most of us new missionaries did not expect this or did not expect to hear it, but we've heard this many times. So we're going to talk about it.
So we have two purposes to this video. One is that you would be praying for missionaries everywhere, and that their relationships with each other would be strong and good, and the relationships with the people they're working with would be just,
So I've heard that a couple times since being a missionary, and it's like every single time it kind of shocks me. And then I think it didn't really have a lot of weight until I started experiencing conflict myself and experiencing that friction that happens between missionaries, and then how another missionary could literally influence your life in such a way where you kind of are like, I don't want to do this anymore. And this really sucks. And I feel like there's a very big reason why all this happens.
So on Facebook, you go through all these videos, and most of them are, well, not most of them, but there are pictures and videos of lions in zoos stalking people out that are outside the glass.
Secondly is to give all of us new missionaries a heads up about this so that we can be preparing and kind of training by reading and praying and praying and praying. Lots and lots of prayer for God's guidance and grace to fill our hearts in all of this, because we could be the difference and we can help create the new team environment that we all hope to, because it's already being created and people are already working towards mending this.
So there was this one where parents put their baby in front of the lion exhibit, I guess you would say. You can hear the parents talking in the background, and the baby's just playing around, and this big male lion starts stalking the baby, and he runs and he hits the glass. You can hear the dad saying, maybe we shouldn't do this anymore because we're seriously teasing the lion.
It's like we're missionaries, right? And so we leave everything that we've ever known behind, our families, our jobs, our cultures, our comforts, everything, even the ability to have conversations, deeper conversations, just because the language barrier, right? And hope to find familiarity, support, understanding from these other missionaries. And don't get me wrong, we're trying to do that for each other. I genuinely believe that we are, because we are all working towards the same goal, right? We're all moving in the same direction here, doing it. But somehow, some way, the devil takes these situations, in the midst of us trying to be supportive, in the midst of us trying to work together, in the midst of us trying to move in the same direction, somehow the devil will just take these little crazy things, these situations and just cause a lot of pain, a lot of hurt, a lot of distrust and disloyalty, a lot of just things that break up these relationships that really hurt people to the point of not wanting to be on the field anymore. What a brilliant plan. What a brilliant idea. What a brilliant way to stop the spreading of the gospel. What a better way to stop the spreading of the gospel than use each other against each other. And it's brilliant because whenever another missionary hurts another missionary, whether it's intentional, unintentional, completely aware of it or completely unaware of it, reaction is kind of.
And so you're like, well, why are you doing this? You're a missionary, especially a missionary. Everybody holds missionaries up on a pedestal, even though we're just normal Christians.
Right.
You hold a missionary up on a pedestal and you think they should be a certain way and they're not.
Yeah.
And then that kind of is I think it messes with you.
I think it just sometimes happens, and the expectations we put on each other can be unfair at times.
Yeah.
Even as missionaries putting unfair expectations on other missionaries.
And sometimes we work it out. We don't always work it out completely, and it doesn't always get worked out, but when we do, sometimes we do try. And even then we don't always get to work it out completely, because I think it's the devil will take up some deep hurts, some really deep hurts from our past that has nothing to do with the person involved in this situation. And it could hurt a lot. And I've heard stories of people holding on to these grudges for 20 plus years, and you're just whoa, it's crazy. And sometimes though, these conflicts are simply, they're just.
You realize how either minor the things were, how stupid it may have been, or you just realize like you really just didn't understand each other very well, and maybe the other person or you, one of the two parties, just didn't.
Actually, Professor Anna, we were talking about this morning, and she said that sometimes you don't even know you're offending the other person.
Yeah.
Like, she went to this Chinese house, people who are Chinese, and she was doing the wrong thing. Like, they were offering her a glass of water that was really, really hot, and she was like, she said that's how they drink it. And she's like, no, that's okay, I don't want it. And she offended them so much, and she had no clue she did.
I was talking to Tasia, and I said, it's like, especially with missionaries who've been on the field longer and newer missionaries coming in, is like they'll experience these frictions, these frustrations, and like the different generations there are out in the field. Because for one, there's a lot of differences between generations, but then also the longer you've been out here, like your relationships with the people you're with are a lot deeper and grown further. And then as a new missionary coming in, and I think especially as, I would even say as millennials for the most part, like relationships just have, like, I don't know if I don't know how to explain this. This could be a generalization, but we really like doing things as a team and with people. And it doesn't always mean necessarily like we're all have an equal share in the load, but we just like being with people. We like being connected. We like having that. And to leave all that behind and then show up as a missionary somewhere where you don't have that connection and you're expecting that in other missionaries, but they already have all their relationships and their families built, and then you're like longing to have it and you're still developing that in a new culture that you don't understand, in a language you barely could speak, and all this stuff. It's like nice to have that relationship with those other missionaries, and for that relationship to be good, and then for the ministry to be done well. And
also, this is not unique to millennials. Like, I think all of us in general just want to have a good, consistent, healthy community that we could have relationship with people. So yeah, not just millennials feel that way.
When it doesn't happen, or whenever it feels like there isn't any understanding or any like relationship there, it just hurts. I think it hurts a lot, and it can suck a lot too. And obviously these are very vague statements being said, because when they happen in the moment, like they're very specific things that are going on, and they're very like direct things that we feel.
And you never think of that being like the number one thing. You know, like what would you think the number one thing why missionaries leave the field?
Either family issues, the family as like we in the States think of like our nuclear family, like mom, dad, kids, or like someone outside of the nuclear family, like a parent back in the States or someone back home in the States having something come up where we're like, I should go back and do that. I would imagine that being the two topics, or that being the number one, or like feeling lonely in my head.
I would think money, 100%.
Yeah.
Because once you're called to be a missionary, I feel like nothing could stop you, and I know that's so young missionary to say, but I would think money, because you always, especially right when you get on the field, and so you feel like, and you have to trust a ton of people to give that to you every month. That's a huge thing for me. I feel like it would be money would be the number one reason.
It just goes to show that everyone would think it different.
Yeah, you know? But you would never think it'd be each other. The line video now kind of ties in, I think. Yeah. Because you would not expect that to be a number one missionary thing, and you don't see the devil, like that's how sneaky the devil is. You know what I'm saying? Like, he'll put what you least expect, and people say that you get hurt the most by people you love the most. Yeah. So,
like the lion, if it'll attack something that's super weak,
right?
You know, like if it's the easiest thing to get, it's gonna get it. Because like just because you have conflict anywhere in life, whether this is in your own walk with God and in your own church or wherever you may be, or within your family, like it doesn't mean that relationships are done and everything's broken, and it doesn't. Because like I know we've talked a lot about expectations. I feel like this is one of those things where we have this expectation of like this is what it looks like, but when it doesn't go how we look like, it's like, oh, that book's closed, we're done with it, take it back to the library, right? If this is the number one thing that tears us apart on the field and gets people to quit sharing the gospel to these people who don't have any access to the gospel, there's a reason for it being the biggest thing, and it's like the biggest area of weakness with us is because like this is where we're most vulnerable, like this little baby sitting in front of a glass window in front of a lion knows the baby can't do anything, so he's going to eat it. If you could be praying for all of us that this would mend and heal, because if we could take the number one reason off the table of why missionaries go home by like interceding for missionaries throughout the whole world. I mean, obviously number 2 would become number 1, whatever that is, but we take off the biggest reason. And so that's like that many more missionaries who are going to have longevity out in the field and be able to be here and continue to grow and work together. Any questions you have about what we talked about or anything you want more clearly explained, please post your questions below. Subscribe, like, and comment, and share this, because I can't get it. I don't know. I need you to share these videos to help me get the word out there. I email and text everyone I know, so they're all annoyed. So yeah, now you could help annoy people with me. All right.
You think that was good?
I think so.
Me too.
I think it was fun.
It was good. I said things I couldn't say Tuesday, so
Yeah.
that worked.